Hi, my name is Meghan Lingle, and my presentation is going to be on the gun massacre epidemic and why we blame mental illness for it. So, a little bit of background information on my presentation is that public perception in modern day often links mental illness as a cause for gun violence. However, there's been no definitive evidence to prove this link, and numerous other studies actually prove the opposite. And also, people with mental illness are more likely to become victims of violence rather than the perpetrators. Mental illness is stigmatized in the media and is used as a distraction from the controversial gun debate in today's society. Politicians and other influential figures promote policies involving background checks during the purchase of firearms for people with mental illness. But the problem is that mental illness is way too broadly defined by society to effectively outline in the creation of public policies. And although gun violence is a real problem in the United States and throughout the world, mental illness has no real proven connection to it to be able to more define public policies surrounding gun violence. Over the course of the last decade, the rate of gun massacres has increased significantly. According to the FBI, mass shootings have been on a steady incline since 2000, with a large influx starting in 2009. And the definition of active shootings are incidents where individuals shoot or attempt to shoot in a densely populated area. And this definition excludes gun-related incidents like gang violence and domestic violence. And so between the years of 2015 and 2018, 11 of the worst gun massacres occurred in the United States. And so this increase in massacres is also displayed in the fact that 277 active shooter incidents have been intercepted by police since the year 2000. And research shows that gun massacres are only increasing, and the reasons given for this increase are not being addressed by political organizations in the United States. So politicians like President Donald Trump have actually been known to say that hatred and mental illness pull the trigger, not the gun, whenever mass shooting occurs. Other politicians like Texas Governor Greg Abbott refer to mass shooters as people that are very, very seriously mentally ill. But mental illness has long been associated with violence, specifically gun violence, but this perpetuates the belief in public perception called sanism, and which means that mental illness plays a major role in violent acts against society, which is untrue and ends up causing an unfair stigma against people with mental illness in society. And so gun massacres actually have no proven connection to mental illness, and if mental illness is not the primary cause of gun massacres, then what is? And the answer to that is not exact. A lot of people have been researching this for a long time, and they don't know the exact answer, but they know that some factors include the prevalence of guns and the easy way to obtain them, especially here in the United States, as well as personal factors and demographics. But the problem is that these factors are not as prevalent in the discussion over gun control as much as mental illness is. And so my claim is that gun massacres have no proven connection to mental illness, and some factors include the prevalence of guns and the easy way to obtain them, as well as personal factors and demographics that actually cause people to commit these crimes. And so my data to prove my claim is that guns are extremely prevalent in society today, especially in the United States. In a survey by Pew Research Center shows that 3 in 10 Americans own a gun, and purchases are only growing. So these statistics alone would not have much significance, but they contribute to the trend of 4 out of 10 Americans being shot or knowing someone who has been shot in their lifetime. And so not only is the prevalence of guns a problem, but also several other factors beyond mental illness can cause felonies like gun massacres. And these factors include but are not limited to, demographics, socioeconomic status, history of violence or juvenile detention, developmental issues, gender and culture, substance abuse, and easy access to firearms. And studies show that gun massacres are usually committed by young, working class single males. In addition, the possibility of violence can increase if they have a history of violence, if they were in juvenile detention, have less than a high school education, feel threatened by others, or recently got out of a committed relationship, because it's such a big difference in their lives and a big change that they don't know how to cope, which caused them to commit more gun violence. And some ways to prevent these more significant triggers of violence include a decrease in access to firearms, especially through gun control policies, as well as more attention and aid to people who suffer from substance abuse or other mental illnesses that do cause the stigma around gun violence. But then other ways to prevent gun massacres can include background checks, because a lot of people in this country of both political parties do believe in background checks. So if we have them, that could even eliminate the stigma against people with mental illness even more. And then also bans on automatic weapons and ammunition, because when there was the ban in the 1990s of assault weapons, the prevalence of gun massacres decreased significantly compared to when the ban kind of expired, which is where we are now, there is no ban on assault weapons, and that causes significantly more violence with those kinds of weapons. And that is the end of my presentation, and I hope you guys learn from it and can help you be more understanding of people with mental illness and how they don't necessarily cause the gun violence that is so prevalent in today's society.